name's Minty. I run a gig guide here in Cardiff. It's been going for 4 years, and what I tend to do is just tell people exactly what's going on their front doorsteps, stuff that they can get out and see. It doesn't matter what venue it is, doesn't matter what genre of music it is, we don't discriminate, and we literally talk about everything. People will remember me from giving a speech out of the bootlegger window during the Save Woodmanby Street March in April 2017, where practically all of the music venues on that street were under threat of closure from, certain developers who wanted to build developments next door to music venues where there was no protections there from noise, and it's something that we've seen time and time before, where the Point in Cardiff Bay is a prime example of this. It closed in 2010, and basically the landlords buckled themselves trying to soundproof the venue because new developments had arisen around that area on Mount Stewart Square over the time and started complaining about the noise, and basically they bankrupted themselves trying to soundproof the place and then went out of business, and it's still empty to this day, which is a real shame.
Yeah, I think the closing of venues is a serious thing,
very serious.
It's going to cause bands trouble at any level, because if you're just breaking through, you need the smaller venues to start cutting your teeth before you can get into the more well-known ones. Me and Jamie, again, talking about previous experiences, we played our first gig in Cardiff at Goody Hugh, which we all know is closed. But
3 years ago?
Yeah, something like 4 maybe.
Yeah, and then
4 years, Christ.
Supermarine's first show was actually 10 Feet Tall back in September. With Orchard Live, they put the gig on, but now unfortunately I think that venue is, the Cardiff Council have just agreed for the planning permission for it to be changed, I think. So it's not going to be a venue anymore, which is awful.
Yeah, like most people, I'm really disappointed, quite upset that Undertone has closed. Along with a few other clubs in Cardiff over the past year, like Buffalo and Goody Hugh, like proper music culture centres of Cardiff. Undertone was a big one, I think, for all of us, for a lot of people like myself. Like, it gave us like a really big start in our journey for music. I've been playing there for the past 2.5 years now. Like, this is probably my most played club, hands down, and I've got so many memories, so many good sets in there. And it is a real shame to see it go, but I think this is going to open up a lot more opportunities now for promoters to maybe move into bigger venues, start throwing bigger nights, which I think is going to start pushing the Cardiff scene a lot more now, since they're going to start getting a lot bigger headliners down, taking bigger sort of risks with the night, I guess, by putting on these multi-headliner nights, and it's going to slowly start putting Cardiff back on the map again.
Difficult time for everyone in the scene, because we obviously lost Goody Hugh about a year ago, and with all the stuff going on with 10 Feet Tall, it's sort of a really interesting and difficult time. It's really gutting to see grassroots venues. Both those venues, like, I wouldn't be in the position, like, investing in the local scene and being able to sign bands to my label without those venues, because that's where I started, like, music journey and promoting and DJing and all those sort of things. So it's really gutting to see them go, and I think what I'm hoping for is some new places to pop up and new venues, and I think that's what we need. I think we need investment in the local scene, and like encouraging people to not necessarily rely on the venues that are already there, but you need to create new spaces for artists to develop and promoters to develop and everyone to develop, because it isn't just about the bands, it's about the promoters, it's about the sound techs, it's about everyone involved in the music scene that don't have that like sort of breeding ground for where you start off and you learn your trade.
There's just not as many places to gig. I mean, the Moon are quite good for it in the sense that they'll just offer gigs out. They'll be like, oh, we do a gig, like for example with the Floods with Clubby Bond, they're doing a fundraiser, aren't they?
But things like, I mean, say if you wanted to hire or put a gig on yourself, I mean, there's nowhere else really to do it at the minute, I guess. For like a small time gig, not like one where hundreds of tickets. If you're only going to expect to sell 30 or 40, I guess Moon's the only place to do it.
Yeah, I think it makes it. I think like for the artists in the music scene that are like, they've already kind of established. It's they haven't taken as much of a hit because, like, you know, they can play like Club Bar, they can play other places. But I think, like you were saying, like for the bands like just starting off and just trying to get started, I think it's harder to get gigs.
It's like Goody Who I'm stood in front of now that closed its doors over a year ago. When spaces like this close, when small rooms like this close, where are those artists at the bottom going to start? Because I can tell you now, you'd only need 30 people in that building and it would be enough to sustain a crowd that an artist doing their first or second show would feel comfortable with. But if you're placing someone in like Portland House or Titan Warehouse and there's 35 people in there, that person is going to take a knock on their confidence. These are confidence builders as well.
To light the room and save me while I try to clear the air. I got that new moonlight in the middle of the room.
And do you think like all this is making it easier, or like as like an up and coming band, do you think it's making it easier or harder to break into the scene at the moment?
I think to get into the scene, like we've found it, like we didn't find it too difficult. Like we got a gig, we got one gig at the Moon, and then we went and played that, and then after that people just started asking us to like come and play places.
And
like the Moon's always a good place to like go and play. Like they're always looking for new people to come and play.
And there's always people that go in like as an audience. There's always a lot of people there watching all the local bands, which I think is like, that's a great thing, because where I'm from in Wolverhampton, there's nothing like that. It's just kind of dead because all the music venues have closed down.
Thanks to everyone who's joining us right now. This is a live Q&A, special Q&A here from our studio here in Cardiff. We're talking all Wales at the moment, as there's currently a live music inquiry being undertaken by the National Assembly of Wales. We've got the chair of the Culture Welsh Language Committee, Bethan Syed AM, here with us now. Matt's been in on Facebook. Would you like to go for that one, Corin?
Matt says, what more can be done to protect music venues that have housing/flats built around them? And then noise complaints follow from new residents, for example, The Point in Cardiff.
Well, you will know, won't you? Since The Point closed, there's been a new planning. It's not law, it's guidance called the Agent of Change. So basically, if there's already a music venue in its place, then if somebody wants to develop a flats or new housing property around that area, they will have to put the soundproofing in place, so the onus would be on the new developer. Before that point, I'm talking about the point, they didn't have that, so residents would complain about the music or the noise, and then that led to pressure, and obviously The Point closed, another great venue. So for example, then it could work the other way around. If there's already housing there and the music venue wants to open shop next door, then they would have to be mindful of what was already there. Planning in Wales is all guidance. So we've had some of this in our inquiry saying, well, shouldn't that be made law? No planning is actually law here in Wales. It's all guidance. So if there was an appeal to the planning inspectorate, they would set precedents based on, you know, what the first case would be. You know, it's how law works, isn't it? So if, for example, if somebody now, if The Point was still open and somebody complained, it could go to the planning inspectorate and they would say, you know, no, that can't close, and that would set a precedent for future type issues like that. So it's not ideal, the planning system, but it's better than not having that at all.
I haven't got a clue. No. It's very mixed, because like 1 second it feels like everything's, you know, dying, and then you get a bit of news. Like, what was it about the venue charges or something like that? They get like, the venues get charged less. They get like a discount.
What?
Like independent venues.
Rent.
Yeah, like rent.
Well,
which is good. Right? It's like good news. But I mean, it's come a little bit late. I mean, that would have been nice for Goody Who, isn't it?
I think.
And the Big Top and Buffalo.
With Cardiff,
but
the music that's coming out of Cardiff and the artists and the acts really, really good. But it's like the city's fighting against it for some reason. And like, I mean, it's just greedy people want more. It's because it's rent, basically.
It's just like us, really, isn't it?
Losing far too many venues. There's Buffalo as well, went a couple of years back, didn't it? And
no, this last year, wasn't it?
Yeah. There's probably about 4 or 5 really good venues in the past couple of years which have gone. And
it's sad. It's like Rhys said, without those smaller kind of grassroots type of venues, there's no stepping stone to then get onto your kind of medium to big level venues like Tram Shed, Students' Union, and then even the Motor Point or something.
Demolition laws are a lot looser than planning, and I don't know why that is. Why is it that if you knock something down that it's easier to do than to build something? That doesn't make any sense to me. And so as a result, we lost I won't go on about it because people know, but
well, the agent of change, if you want to look into it, isn't something new for Cardiff. It's happened in other countries, so I think Cardiff adopted that as a result of the campaigning you did. So Thomas, the leader of the council, came in. He said, well, it was also a private company, and they had the people, Goody Who and others, had their tenure was ended by them because they had a different plan for it. And he said, well, there's only so much we can do if it's a private company. So it's not just the demolition as well. It's about, if you're a private company, it's different to if it was
I just guess
St. David's Hall or something,
I just wish there was more stricter legislation in terms of, demolition.
So it's good if you're still a grassroots music venue, but it's still this ongoing discussion of kind of like the spaces that, people own. Do they know the value and the impact that has on the community? And as we saw with 10 Feet Tall sort of at the end of January, and the way that all that panned out, I'm still unsure whether people do realise on the whole sort of that value and impact that it has at the bottom. So